scrappy people, Traci Reed here today, coming at you with the third video in my fuss-free December daily prep series. Today I'm working with the All Is Calm collection as part of the TRD All Is Calm, All Is Bright YouTube hop. We have a whole bunch of inspiration from the team and from myself in this YouTube hop. Tons and tons of videos. You can go on the All Is Calm track or the All Is Bright track or do both. It's up to you. This is the All Is Calm track. I have my video from yesterday, which uses All Is Bright in the All Is Bright track, and you, if you haven't watched it yet, you'll want to watch that video as well. Today I'm using vellum. I used a lot of acetate yesterday in the All Is Bright video, so today I'm using some vellum in the All Is Calm video. I thought vellum lended itself to the calmer colors of this collection a little bit better. I've been making a envelope that's going to go in the rings of my collection, or of my album, on a extender strip from Citrus Twist Kits. I got a question about where those are from. Everything, all of my page protectors and my album are all from Citrus Twist Kits Life Crafted albums. They're basically all I use. I love them a ton. Now I'm going to create a tag to go into this pocket. Instead of creating or cutting out a half circle at the top of my pocket, you'll see that I actually went along with the diagonal on the plaid itself and created a V. I thought that was a good change. I've been doing a lot of tags and a lot of pockets in this album, so it's good to vary the way that things look. If you're going to do a lot of the same thing, just changing up the way that things come together sometimes will make a lot of repetitive elements look different and interesting as someone flips through your album. So I'm going to create a wreath out of these snowflakes from the collection, and I'm going to add that letterboard in the center of the wreath. I'm just kind of seeing how these are going to come together. I'm going to pop the letterboard up on a pop dot so that I can stick these stars underneath it easily. And then I'm just going to work my way around in a circle, trying to make sure that the wreath itself is as circular as possible. Sometimes when you're working with these star shapes, it can be hard to get a accurate circle, so I'm just going slow and trying to make sure that it's a circle and not an oval. So I ran out of the colors for these stars, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to decide which colors I want to repeat. There's a lot of blue and a lot of green already on the page with that green tag especially, so I just decided to repeat the red and the pink, and then I'm going to stick this dark green up here as well. Now I'm just going to readjust all of these stars to make it all more circular. Now the last thing I'm going to do for this page is add in a enamel dot for every single snowflake in the center, just for a little bit of bling and interest on the page. So I'm just using my trusty Cocoa Daisy enamel dots, and that is it for this page. Moving on, I had the idea that I wanted to create an acetate page with squares on it. So what I'm doing here is I have all of these 2x2 squares cut out, and I'm arranging them so that the colors are nice and spaced out. And then when I start sticking these down, I'm just going to use my tape runner and I'm going to stick them down on the acetate. But when I start sticking them down, you can see that I decided that I wanted to leave some empty spaces, and instead of having all of these white squares or like the backs of these patterns, I'm just going to add in a pattern on the back side, and I'm going to work on both sides of this page. It's going to be its own little divider page. I'm going to add in some journaling and some photos when I'm ready to work with this page, but I wanted to change things up and vary what was in the square spaces. So instead of adding these pattern squares, I'm adding these folded hearts, and I just use liquid glue down the center so that it is adhered, but the flaps can lift up and have give a little height to the page. So I'm going to do that on both sides with the hearts that are the same size. These hearts are from the digital kit, so you can see they already have shading in them from the digital kit because they're meant to be folded paper hearts but digital style, so I added a little shading, but it adds some fun dimension to the page as well in real life. So then I added a circular label and then circular paper on the back, and I decided I liked that circle, so I cut out some of the squares into circles as well. And that is it for that page. For this page, I had this acetate printed out with the Christmas lights along the side, and instead of using it as its own page, I'm going to use it as a border like I did in my video yesterday with the striped acetate, only I'm not going to add anything to the outside edge. I trimmed it down to be traveler's notebook size, and I'm going to just add this frame. I decided I wanted to add in some placeholder cards as well that would sort of define the theme of the page, because at the top of the frame it says the Christmas tree, so I added in some deck the halls, etc. kind of word art for the cards. Lastly, I'm just going to clip these embellishments with the frame onto the page so that I can move them around later. They're just an idea. I've been doing that throughout my series. You'll see me do it a lot. Just paper clipping them on so that they're there and ready for me to use if that's the direction I decide to go. So for a fun interactive page, I am going to make an accordion fold flip out page, and I'm going to do 5 sheets of this colored cardstock from the collection, and I'm going to add each one to the page with a cardstock hinge so that they fold over and create an accordion fold pull out page. So I'm going to adhere it to the back of this blue page and then the back of the pink page, or the green page. They're going in color order. And then when I get them all attached, you will see that they fold out. And the reason I did it this way rather than back to back is because I have the idea to add photos as tags into or onto these pieces of cardstock. So that's why I'm adding these vellum pockets. And there's one per each member of my family. So I wanted, when you pulled it out, to be able to see all of the photos of the whole family at once rather than having some of us on the front and some of us on the back and having to flip it over. So I'm going to adhere each one of these pockets down with liquid glue around the outside of the edge. Be very careful when using liquid glue with printed vellum because it will smear your print if you're not careful. Lastly, I'm going to decorate each of the outside of the pockets. I have these gold sparkly letter stickers, and then I'm just using a stocking or a tree for each one of the pages and adding a floral as well. So I initially just was going to use the trees and the stockings, that's why they're down already, but I decided it just wasn't enough impact, so we're going to add in the florals, and it rearranges everything anyway, so I felt like we could cut out that first bit. I do have it alternating, so it goes tree, stocking, tree, stocking, tree, stocking, and then you can see the different types of florals that I have framing those stockings as well. They're different than the ones that I have framing the trees. I like the pattern variation, like I like having a pattern, but I also like having everything be a little bit varied and not the same on every page. I think it makes it more interesting and more dynamic to just change it up a little bit and make everything just a little different. This is the one that I had the hardest time with because I just happened to get the J letter with a stocking, which is the exact same shape. So I was having a hard time making it look like it wasn't repeating with the stocking and the J. So that was fun. But I got it eventually. I had to really tilt that stocking to make it work. Lastly, I'm going to work this one, and I was making sure to use a different tree and a different floral cluster for each one of these pages as well. So what I need to do to keep this closed, you can see it's popping open, is I'm going to create a ribbon tie around the front. So I'm just going to use my tape runner to adhere it to the back. Eventually I will add something to the back of this, so it will go over that ribbon on the outside and sandwich it between the two layers. And then I'm going to cut a notch out of the plastic strip so that it closes a little bit easier than if it had to wrap around that plastic strip. So I get it tied and perfect. Now I can untie it when I want to open it up and then retie it so it stays nice and flat in my album. Now the key is going to be not creating anything two-dimensional in that two-dimensional as in T-O-O, not T-W-O, two-dimensional in those pockets so that that page doesn't get super bulky in my album. Last but not least, I'm going to create some journal cards with the scraps from my pages. I didn't have a ton of scraps, but I did create some, so I'm going to go with the whole pattern card thing again that I did yesterday with the All is Bright collection. I wanted to use these notebook paper stars or snowflakes from the digital kit, and this letterboard from the digital kit was the perfect pair, so I just sandwiched it in between some snowflakes. Now I'm going to use the stickers for this one. I decided I wanted to, or I have been trying to make sure that for every 4 cards that I create, 2 of them are journal cards and 2 of them are designer cards. I talked about yesterday how I always feel like I make a ton of the designer cards and they're not very useful, and so I always have a ton left over because I need places to journal too. So I'm trying to make a concerted effort to have journal cards as well. I'm going to have these labels by journal cards. They don't have to be, or they don't have to have a ton of space for journaling, but you know, a note or a date is important too. Here's the second journal card I'm going to work on. I decided I needed some colorful backing for that label from the sticker sheet, so I decided to go with the red. And then I'm going to put this joy on the bottom, comfort and joy, and frame it with that little holly, little pine bough. Perfect, came together easily. Last but not least, I'm going to just very quickly use this Our Traditions tag and 3 Christmas trees to make something super simple but interesting for, you know, just a designer card, something to stick and plonk in there somewhere, wherever I feel like putting it. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. There's a link in the description box below to everyone on the YouTube hop, as well as the blog post for the YouTube hop that has everyone rounded up there as well, so you can see all of everyone's projects at once and work your way around the hop that way. There's also a link to the blog post for this specific video, since I'm doing a blog post for each one of these December daily videos, in the description box below, as well as a link to the All is Calm collection. All right, thank you.